Hello, Heroclix land. Welcome back to Talkn Clix. As always, I'm your host, Wespool, and my co-host, as Scott Johnson from the Johnson and Johnson family. Uh, for the first time ever, we have a repeat guest of Azarith Strife.
Hey, how's it
We
going?
had one full interview that got cut short, and then we had a second one that was all messed up, so we're trying it again.
We'll get it right
All right.
eventually.
Can't get enough of Azarith
Third
anyway.
time.
Hey, I appreciate that.
All right, so I've lost track of what questions we've answered and what we haven't. So we're going to start from the top of the listener questions, just go through them all again, and we'll try to catch Azarith in a lie.
Oh boy. Okay.
All right, go ahead, Scott. Why don't you take us off?
All right, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
What's your favorite HeroClix set of all time?
I think I have to go with Secret Wars Battle World. It's the set that I started on. Won my first WKO on it in a sealed Secret Wars Battle World. Got top 16 at my first Team Worlds on that set. There's a lot of good memories from that set. I also played a lot of Gauntlet Panther, the Trace. Loved that character. Regent, another character that I really liked from that set. Destroyer Thor Prime, Witch Queen LaFay. There's a lot of really fun characters to play.
There was a lot of really good characters. Dino Thor was a big one that you could.
I loved Dino Thor with the Scales of Justice.
Yes. What unclicked character do you want to see sooner rather than later?
So it's not really an unclicked character. It's an unclicked version of a character. It's a Gambit pre-nerf of Mr. Sinister. So before Gambit went to Mr. Sinister and said, "Hey, I'm just too powerful. Like, can you nerf me?" Just a real Gambit that shows full kinetic control of people, not just I make exploding playing cards. I think that would be a lot of fun to see.
He's a little different than Boom Boom is, but I think with his full power set, he would be really, really awesome to see.
Yeah, I would definitely want to see it as like a chase because I feel like it would have to be a chase to be like that power level. For somebody that can like either take away or increase speed values, stuff like that.
Did you see it as Iconics?
It depends because they make either really good or really bad iconics. But I don't see like it kind of fitting an iconics theme. It would fit more in like a chase theme in an X-Men set.
Okay. Why don't more people refer to you as the Hitman of HeroClix?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I'm open to it.
You're always on top of the ELO in tournaments. You personify the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, except for maybe Masu. But,
I think I have a winning record against George in tournaments. I can't fully remember, but I mean, but he retired, so.
Yeah, he's retired, and apparently you started in 2018, so you've done really awesome for yourself in what 6.5, 7 years.
Yeah, if anybody wants to refer to me as that, that's awesome. I probably would never refer to myself as that, just because I have confidence issues, but
it's a lot of pressure to carry all that. Best there was, the best there ever will be.
Yeah, that being the excellence of Clixecution would be a bit difficult. But I'm a big Bret Hart fan, so I would welcome it.
The top 3 modern pieces you'd want to build with that you haven't been able to build with yet.
So number 1 is Hidari Yeo. I was really excited when she first got previewed. I was like, man, this character is awesome. Then I never really played her because I didn't really end up going to any tournaments while Black Panther was like the set. And then she was really good with like Colossus on the ruler build, and then I just didn't play her. And now she's kind of not good because ranged is just a really rough thing to play. So I never actually got to play her, and I'd really like to. I think another character I have to actually go through this again. I had answers. Now I can't remember. Oh, Juggerduck. Juggerduck is one that I really, really like.
He's not that good.
I know he's not, but he looks fun as heck.
He's very fun, but he's not that good.
And then I actually think my third character is it's a tie between either the Beholder or the Displacer Beast. Because I'm a huge D&D fan and I like really would love to put those characters on a map. The Displacer Beast just does not have a lot going for it. So it would probably end up being the Beholder. Plus, who doesn't want to just disintegrate somebody? Like, that's kind of fun.
They're both fun to play.
Yeah, and I can't wait for the owlbear to come out so that I can like play a D&D themed team, which would be a lot of fun.
You want the cubs or the big owlbear?
Both of them. Then I put a unicorn on there. Then we put Pegasus Cap, but we removed Captain America, and it's just the Pegasus.
What about Deadpool on the unicorn?
I don't know if I would want Deadpool in my D&D game.
Like the unicorn, though.
But I could just play the unicorn.
The Deadpool unicorn had better stats.
Probably. It was an ultra chase. It wasn't an Ellie.
I mean, yeah, it's an ultra chase. All right, so what non-Marvel or DC IP would you like to see adopted into Heroclix?
All right, how many times can I answer this question? Power Rangers. Power Rangers will always be my number one answer for that. I think it would be a really fun either gravity feed set like the Turtle set or an Iconics of like the original 6 Mighty Morphin. That, or if I can't get that, Castlevania, especially with like the success of the Castlevania anime. Castlevania was my very first video game ever, Castlevania 1 on the regular Nintendo. I've loved that series ever since I was a kid. So I would love to see a team fielded with like Richter or Simon or Leon Belmont with Sypha and Alucard and just all those characters.
All right, so to follow up on that one, what kind of a game element would you design with that IP in mind?
So if I were to design a game element, it would be the Megazord. If it was going to be the Power Rangers, it would either be the original classic Megazord, the 5-Zord Megazord, or the Dragon Zord, the Dragon Megazord.
Would you put it like the building Iron Man,
the old Hulkbuster one?
Yeah,
that would be fun. Actually, yeah, I would love that. You get like little Zords in each. You potentially get a Zord in each gravity feed, and then you put them together and you make the Megazord. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be pretty awesome. I like the Hulkbuster piece aesthetically. Mechanically, it didn't work very well.
It looks like a car as a figure, if I remember correctly. Like it's got like kind of blocky, like a car.
It is very blocky. The body part's very blocky.
Yeah.
What equipment or signature item from comics would you like to see made into the game?
So, I don't read a lot of comics. I just read a lot of Wikipedias for the characters that I like. So unfortunately, some of my favorite characters are Thor, which we've gotten every Thor weapon that I can think of at least. So I don't know. I'd like to see like maybe Gambit's bow staff, Gambit's charged bow staff, something like that. Maybe like the Book of Vashanti, or like some of like the Doctor Strange artifacts. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, the Crimson Bands would be awesome.
Yeah.
Or
if you want to go with like some of the MCU stuff, like the sling ring, give somebody like TK.
To circle back on the Power Rangers thing, how would you do that differently than say a Voltron set?
I don't know. I didn't watch Voltron.
They were essentially Power Rangers before they were Power Rangers. It was 5 kids that operated these lion machine things that would come together to form one giant Megazord kind of thing. Very, very similar.
I gotta see if I can fact check this. No,
yeah, and then they had the Space Voltron. They had the Space Voltron that had like 100 different pieces connect.
Voltron came second, technically.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Power Rangers is obviously based on the Japanese show Super Sentai, which released in 1979. Voltron didn't come around until 1984.
I was a child either way, so
I was not born when either of them came out.
Yeah, I'll be the old man. I've seen them both.
I've seen episodes of Super Sentai. I'm not happy about it, but.
So, next question. What's your favorite format to play in Heroclix?
So first is any teams event. Teams is like, in my opinion, the best format in Heroclix. Whether it be team sealed, team constructed, 3v3, 2v2, just having a partner or a teammate, one or two of them, to just kind of go through the trenches and go through the tournament together is just such a fun experience because, one, how you do, like, you can have a bad round and like your teammates can kind of carry you through those bad rounds, and you're just there to like pick each other up, joke around with each other, give each other strategy advice on, in between rounds. It's just a really come together kind of format. Other than teams, it's 300 modern. I prefer 300 modern. I'm a competitive player for Heroclix, so that's just kind of what I lean to. Not saying I won't play Silver. I'm not the biggest fan of Silver as a format, but I still play it because I enjoy playing Clix. And I do have to give credit. Aaron is doing a very, very good job at trying to keep that format under control.
What do you think of the changes that were just released yesterday?
They are wonderful. They turned the entire format on their head, in my opinion. So I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see what comes out of Rock Cup because I won't be able to be there.
I don't know if I like the Highlander builds for generics. It doesn't work well for stuff like that.
I think that's only going to be temporary. I know they are trying to get it in the works. Or it's in the works to try to get that generics will not be covered under the Highlander. The characters like Dr. Fate, Loki, the Super Rare Flash from Wonder Woman 80, they're trying to make exceptions for those characters, but it's easier to make exceptions for those characters down the line and institute the Highlander now.
Yeah, they released an article this morning kind of explaining that a little bit, and they essentially asked everybody to write in to a certain email address their recommendations for exceptions to the rule, which I have mixed feelings about. I also agree that the swarm is a fun mechanic, but when you start, we can't make it just a blanket rule, and you have to start off on the back heel with all these exceptions. It just kind of feels awkward. Like, I get why they're doing it. It just doesn't feel smooth as far as a new transition.
Sure, but you gotta be willing to have those kind of speed bumps when going to a format like Silver. I've said this before on other casts. When Silver was first like being pushed as a real format again, I went to Aaron at Rock Cup last year and I'm like, you have two choices. There are two roads you can walk with this. One, you accept that Silver will be one of the most degenerate formats that competitive players will play. Or two, you have to heavily enforce it, and erratas and bans need to happen heavily. And you need to make sure that you're willing to put the work in to make the format healthy. I think making it Highlander is a good start. The team I played at Kentucky States last year was Beetlejuice and 4 Grand Prize Apocalypses. That team just shouldn't. Believe me, I wasn't happy about it, but I wanted to win.
It definitely solves a lot of issues on the front end.
It's future-proof.
Yeah. So I like what he's doing with it. I'll be interested to see what the next step is as far as their exceptions to the rule.
Well, and making it Highlander opens up, like, 2 characters got to come off the restricted list because of it.
Yeah.
Necron and Colored Silver Surfer are now like actually playable with other powerful characters.
Yep.
All right, I have a piggyback question on the team events there. Mm-hmm. So you've played 2v2. Are y'all playing 2v2 on each one has their own map, like A and B?
Yeah, that's the only 2v2 that I have played. I know that Ryan Redmond has put out a 2v2, or sorry, King of New Orleans, they did a 2v2 sealed where it was one map, 2 teams, which is cool. And I know Ryan Redmond was doing that too as a test. I'd love to play a format like that.
The 2v2 that I played in was at Texas Wizard Worlds, probably as the Avengers or the Justice League set came out. And it was 2 people teaming up against 2 other people. You played on the same map. You rotated your turns like normal, but when one person was KO'd, game over. So if they killed the A player on the opposite, if we killed the A player on the opposite team, they're done because we'll out action them and it's just over.
Yeah.
And then when you qualified through that, that was like the grinders. And when you made it through that, they took the top 8 teams on one day, the top 8 teams on the other day, and then those guys went to the top 32 and did individuals.
Oh,
It
interesting.
was wild.
That's cool. When you were on the same map, did you consider your teammates as friendly characters for effects?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything was friendly. If you had planned it out with your teammate, you could like carry them, and then on their turn they could start attacking, which was crazy.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. It'd be great. That would be wild.
All right. Do you consider yourself an Az man?
Well, I mean, my name is Az or Azarith, or however people want to. I get commonly called Az, so yes. Question mark.
Kinda, sorta, maybe. Do you have a scenario or a house game that's your favorite?
So I think when we originally recorded this, I gave like a couple different formats. I'm just going to limit it down to the one now. Back when I was first starting to learn how to play in a serious fashion as an adult, my TO that at the store I was playing at did you picked a TV series and you had to build your team around the theme of that TV series. And I thought this was really fun, really cool. And I chose the Power Rangers because that's what I did. And so I had and I built my 5 Rangers, 6 Rangers, and then so Daredevil was my Red Ranger. I had like Boom Boom as my Pink Ranger. Witch Hunter Angela was my Yellow Ranger. Black Panther was my Black Ranger. And then I had the Supreme Intelligence on the map as Zordon. And I was like, yeah, this is awesome.
So there's a theme there. You like the Power Rangers.
I do. Very much so.
So, what is the most underrated 300 modern piece currently?
So before Adepticon, I would have said Caveman Wally West. Because I don't think Caveman Wally West was seeing a ton of play. Now that Adepticon happened, there were a lot more than there originally was. So my answer has to be King Deadpool and Elsa Bloodstone. The power that they grant a team as far as from their probability control to being an incredible attacker that gets free trick arrows. The fact that there were only 3 of them at both Champion Clix and at Adepticon blows my mind. They're just so good.
Very good piece. What do you anticipate becoming modern viable after rotation?
Assassins.
Kind of like how Kevin finally had his time to shine.
Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking it was a different question. Anything with improved movement. So now also leading into anything with the Crimson Gem. Anything with the new one-shot that we saw today in the unboxing, the Unstoppable one-shot. Because with the rotation of the Traffic Barrel, improved movement is actually relevant again.
Until you get Earthbound Neutralized from Odin.
Legacy Odin, man.
Yeah, he's good.
Actually, you know what? So, if they do something to Beetlejuice, that character's got potential in meta. Like, if you can handle Beetlejuice, I've thought about it. He's good against Collector.
Yeah, he is.
So for anybody out there who hasn't seen the Scott Porter Day 3 unboxing, the one shot that Azarith is talking about is a 5-point one shot that you give a friendly figure charge, and during that action they get improved movement through blocking. So
is it one character? I thought it said friendly characters.
Okay, so I was unclear about that because it says friendly characters, but there was another one shot that was similar wording that was ruled that you give to 1.
Chem Particles is the other one that I know you're talking about. Friendly characters have free. So that's to activate it.
Okay.
This isn't a reaction. This is just you flip it face down. And I think... So I could be wrong, but I think it's all of your friendly characters get charged, and when they use it, they have improved movement, destroys blocking.
Okay, so that makes it way better for 5 points.
Way better than 5 points.
So now, if anybody has flight or the glider and Brock's bunker, you flip this 5-point card over. They can all just fly through the elevation and blocking and clear a path.
Okay. I was wrong because I actually just reread it. There's actually a parentheses informational text that says, turn this face down the first time a character uses this effect.
Okay.
So it is like pin particles. It will turn face down. It's only a one time. Okay. But still, giving a character for 5 points, giving a character charge and improved movement destroys blocking. I think that is very, very good on Caveman Wally West specifically. Because he gets the improved movement destroys blocking, which I have to remember if it says when you use it. Yeah. So it's really good. He can hypersonic up, turn to his click 8. He now has charge with improved movement destroys blocking and flurry. That he can take charge as a free action on that click 8, which gives him flurry.
So this is much more of a finesse card than some of the others.
Yeah. Because the other characters like you would want it on just probably already do it.
Yeah.
Again, enhancing the close combat of the game.
Yeah, ranged is a rough spot right now.
Like the game was ranged for so long, so I'm happy with the close. So which modern figures on the rotation chopping block will shine in the Silver Age format?
This is the question. I thought it was assassins. Just overall the keyword, because Talon Prime will rotate into silver, so it's not going to eat up your modern points. Deadpool to Hitmonkey should rotate into silver as well. And so now most of your assassins were close combat in silver and ranged in modern. So now you actually get the good mix of attackers, along with the increased point build, the build total. You have the ability to play 80-point Ra's al Ghul, or if you want to play Mr. Freeze, you can do that. I'm not the biggest fan of Mr. Freeze because he's 17.
Too big of a base, but he's really, really good for what he does.
He's 40
Especially if you have a POG generator or... But if the ability to assign more targets is broken.
But
especially if you have a POG generator.
It is, but I just feel like he'll just die.
He doesn't have to move up.
I guess. So I don't think that really matters in silver. They'll come to you.
Yeah. Surround him with the pogs. It's fine.
Yeah. No, he's 60 points. It's not even 40 points. He's 60 points for toughness.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So at least he's 6 clicks long. Like, that's reasonable.
And still 20 points less than Ra's al Ghul.
That is fair. But Ra's gets to give it out as a free action, not as a response to a friendly character dying.
That's true.
Giving up points. All right, so if you got to create a new color for the standard powers and abilities, what color is it and what would it do?
I don't know. I think we talked about this and I was like, maybe a mix of like the defense powers where like you, instead of getting either +2 to close or +2 to ranged, it's like a +1 to both. But what I would love to see, if unfortunately it's already a team ability, I would love a defense power or a speed power that's the hyper time team ability. That like instead of getting a bonus to a roll to break away, they have to roll to get next to you.
Yeah. All right. How and when did you start playing Clix?
So I started in 2018 with Secret Worlds Battle World. I started playing a couple of the guys that I played D&D with were talking about playing Heroclix. I'm like, oh, I remember playing that as a kid. I showed up for the locals, started playing. Then I basically devoured every piece of Heroclix content that I could. I just kind of got obsessed. Memorized the pack, was watching all of the Married with Clix videos when they were still doing videos, even their older stuff. Just learning the game. And then one of my friends who I play D&D with was getting mad at me because I was winning. He's like, it took me 6 months to get my first win, and you're like 3 weeks in, and within my first month or two, I won a WKO. I'm like, I've put in a lot of mental work.
That's phenomenal that you got a WKO in like a month.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I got lucky. I did pull Regent in my sealed and my booster, so I got to play 240-point Regent. I'm like, this character's really good in sealed.
Yeah. So Clix to me has gotten a lot easier, especially with the points going to the fives and zeros. Because way back in the day, we didn't have cards, and you would have like 3,000 dials memorized just in case you came across the ultimate Thor or a Spider-Man that you hadn't normally seen. It's like, man, how do I know what's coming? Because we didn't have rotations until, man, it was way into the game, and they're like, okay, all that non-carded stuff, go away.
Yeah, when I first started, we weren't able to look at the cards, so I luckily just have a really good memory for weird shit. So like I would just have dials memorized, especially for like the commonly played characters. But even some of the obscure ones, because I would just sit there and look at figures. But that was honestly, I think that was the best change one of the best changes that I was around for was the letting you look at cards. It just sped things up.
I feel like it does speed things up, but it also gives some analysis paralysis where they're just like studying the card more than actually planning their turn.
Yeah.
I don't care for the fives and zeros. I feel like that just makes it super easy to build with. It was
back
a lot
to
more
83
fun.
point figures.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun trying to figure in how to get to this last 17 points. Be like, oh, hey, paramedic or con artist or whoever.
That was the Exospecs was the only experience I had with that. The 12 points, your build is always 298. Could never get the last two.
What keeps you continuing to play the game?
So first and foremost, the community. This community is the best community I've ever been a part of any competitive game that I've played. Hands down, without a question. Everybody's just so welcoming, so friendly. Even in competitive environments, like sitting at top tables, like we're just back and forth having a good time, wanting to make sure that we're both having a good game. Even if the game is kind of one-sided, we're kind of joking back and forth with each other. The second part is I love the game. I love strategy games. Like I played chess a lot as a kid, and this kind of fits that role along with, like I said, I play a lot of D&D, so played a lot of 4th edition D&D, a lot of similarities in game mechanics. So it kind of scratches that itch in my strategy brain while also being just, like I said, the best community that I could ever ask to be a part of.
So do you do anything extra in the community?
Yeah, I am a podcaster. I co-host 2 other podcasts, the JSA Clix podcast and the Clixed Off Sudden Death podcast. JSA Clix with Devin Owens and Jackson Smith. And then Sudden Death is with TJ Wheeler and Sam Powell. I've also guested on Critical Clix. I've guested on the main Clixed Off show. I just love talking about this game. So if anybody ever reaches out to me like, hey, do you want to come on the show and talk about the game? I'll probably say yes.
So people should know your name because you're on so many different
I would hope so. It's also a fairly unique name.
It is a fairly unique name.
I'm also like, this is like the one time I'll kind of like pat myself on the back. I am a fairly well-known player as far as from a skill level. I do have kind of started to accept the fact that I am considered amongst the top tier players. So if you don't know me from podcasting, you'll know me from tournament results.
I've seen you at tournaments. I'm sorry I've never come up and talked to you. Usually you're swarmed with people.
Yeah, anybody sees me and like wants to chat, like anybody that knows me knows that I am probably one of the most welcoming people that like I'll just sit and I love to talk to people. My girlfriend gets really upset at me mainly because I'm extroverted and she's not. I can literally start a conversation with anybody. So anybody that wants to come up and talk to me, please feel free.
All right. Wes would like to know if you're going to make it to Red, White, and Clix this year.
As long as I would love to, as long as I have the PTO to make it work and can have recovered from my surgery and can make sure I get there. Yeah, I'd love to be there. Like I said, I've got to win this one. I can't lose any more roll-offs.
Roll-offs loss is a terrible way to go, but at least
it was
a good game to get there.
I went 8-0, 2,400 points, full wipes at Red, White, and Clix. Asked about splitting the finals and rolling off. lost in the roll-off, and then proceeded to lose 2 more roll-offs at the next 2 tournaments I played in. So no more roll-offs.
Now,
no more for me.
Question about that. You guys both said that you were so mentally exhausted at the end of the day. That's part of what made you want to do that. If we had split the 300 modern tournament into both days, like done up to top cut, then top cut to the finals the second day, would that have made an impact?
Yeah, I probably would not have felt the fatigue that I did. And honestly, after top 4, like I was feeling pretty okay. It wasn't until I stepped outside, kind of took a couple of deep breaths, which I normally was trying to do to like kind of focus myself. And then I stepped back inside and I'm like, oh, and it just hit me like a tidal wave.
It was a long day.
And me and Rob, like we played long days and we had similar teams and they were fairly complex teams, like not like super complex, but there was like moving parts and they were very like, if one of us made the wrong mistake, it could just blow open.
Oh, I have a question about prepping for a tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that we all practice our teams when we're going for tournaments. Do you ever try and schedule in a day of practice that's going to be like 8-9 hours long, just constant grinding of the meta? Because I mean, that is a real practice for what the game day is going to be like.
Yeah. So first off, I don't do a lot of play. I will admit I don't do a lot of playtesting already. I'm trying to get better about that because I noticed the difference from when I actually do playtest, like I did for Adepticon, and I could have put more time in for Adepticon too, to how I did for Heroclix, which was 0 playtesting. But normally I'm a player that can perform very well without playtesting because I do a lot of theory crafting. Doing an 8 or 9 hour session, I understand the benefits of that. It kind of simulates the tournament day. But man, that just feels like too much for me. It almost starts feeling like a job at that point, and then it's not fun.
So when my locals and I are prepping to go to a big event, we'll try and get at least one day of like 8 or 9 hours. And it is a very, very long day. And it's not just 8 or 9 games of Heroclix, because sometimes we're just like, okay, let's go through the first 4 turns and see how.
And then, reset.
And then reset. Or pick up another team to practice against.
Yeah, I think if I had more players locally to me that took the game more competitively, and it wasn't just me and my one local who would play test with each other, I'd probably be more willing to do that just because I get more enjoyment out of one playtesting with multiple people. And I think so. It's commonly referred to in card games as Hydra. You actually have multiple people watching the game and they give insights on both sides of the game. Can't really do that when it's just 2 people. But yeah, I think if I had more players locally in person, I would be more willing to do something like that.
Okay, one more question on the play testing that you don't do very much of. Do you ever, with your one serious partner, do you ever just swap teams so you can see how to approach your team or how other people could approach your team?
So I've never done that. That's a good idea. Normally what I do is and I do this playtesting with, I playtest a lot with Lucas, with Devin Owens, some, other high-level competitive players. We talk through everything. So while I'm not playing the other side of it, we'll be like, well, what if you did this? How do I react to that? And, I didn't think about doing something like that. I have to be ready for that. It's like just kind of talking through things instead of like worrying about winning or losing and more just setting up for scenarios. We did that a lot for Adepticon, where I was my first kind of playtesting against Collector. We tested that, everything kind of went right and my characters survived. And then we tested as like, okay, well, what happens when things go wrong? And it's like my Deadpool and Hitmonkey were dead. My Elsa Bloodstone Prime was dead. And it's like, all right, now what do you do? And then it was kill Collector in 2 turns. But yeah, so I think a lot of people could get a lot of benefit from that. And something that I had to really struggle with is I wouldn't play test because I couldn't take my own advice of not worrying about winning or losing. And it wasn't because I'm afraid to lose. It was I would get defeated. If I put a team on the map and it